Welcome to Bead Ruptor Basics. My name is Gabriella Ryan, Senior Application Scientist here at Revity Omni, and today I'm going to share with you some real tips from the lab to help you get the most out of your bead mill. Today I want to focus on the scale up from manual mortar and pestle based methods to homogenizing using a Bead Ruptor Elite. So walk through this with me. You've been using a mortar and pestle to manually homogenize a few samples at a time, and now you've scaled up. Maybe you're processing 20, 30, maybe 50 samples a day, and that mortar and pestle just isn't cutting it anymore. And you need a better way, right? This may leave you dreaming of bead mills, bead ruptors, and other bead mill based accessories at night, or not. You may just still be using that manual method, wondering there must be a better way. And there is. Today, I'm going to walk you through the first few top tips that you should know when scaling up your experiment from a manual method to a Bead Ruptor based method. First things first, manually homogenizing your samples using a mortar and pestle is not the same as homogenizing on a Bead Ruptor. Let's walk through this. You've been homogenizing your samples using a mortar and pestle, dry grinding and powdering your tissue, and now you're scaling up to a Bead Ruptor, so you think, well, I'm going to want to achieve a tissue powder as well on that instrument. But let me frame it in a different way for you. So imagine putting strawberries into a blender and expecting strawberry powder. When you turn on the blender and you blend the strawberries up, you're just left with a chunky, sticky mess. That's not what you thought. And the same goes true for bead milling. If you place your tissue in the homogenizer expecting a tissue powder, no matter how cold you keep the bead mill, or even if we go back to the strawberry analogy, no matter how cold you keep that blender cup and how cold the strawberries are, you're never going to get a strawberry powder. It's not that the bead milling isn't working, it's just the approach that needs to change slightly in order to adapt this new, efficient method to your lab. So here's the next tip. If you're working with high moisture content, tissue samples like fresh tissue or frozen tissue, you're going to want to add a liquid buffer to your bead tube when homogenizing on the Bead Ruptor. You may be wondering, why do I have to add a liquid to the bead tube when homogenizing tissue? The liquid helps the beads and the sample move more freely within the tube compared to if the liquid wasn't present. Again, back to the strawberry analogy, blending up strawberries and expecting a strawberry powder, it's just not going to happen. You're going to end up with a sticky, chunky strawberry mess. So instead of a sticky mess, adding a buffer helps you get consistent, efficient homogenization so that you can feed the best quality lysate into your downstream experiments. If you're used to using a mortar and pestle to homogenize your samples, switching to a Bead Ruptor can feel so overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Think about it this way. You usually reconstitute your tissue powder using a liquid buffer after you're done homogenizing, but with bead milling, we're just doing it one step before. And what you gain is an efficient, consistent lysis protocol that allows you to scale up in your experiments. So don't let fear of the unknown hold you back when scaling up from mortar and pestle to Bead Ruptor based experiments. It's a lot simpler than it seems. And remember, the reason you added the Bead Ruptor Elite to your workflow is so you can process more samples more efficiently without sacrificing data quality. And you don't have to be stuck at the bench all day manually processing samples. So it's the best of both worlds. Want more tips or protocols? Head to omni-inc.com and check out our app note database to explore the latest and greatest app notes featuring the Bead Ruptor Elite to incorporate into your workflow.